Hi, I'm Shawn from Bean Me Up. We are a 25-year-old restaurant based in North Goa. Over the years, I've met some incredible people doing some amazing things. I've spent hours meeting, talking, discussing, and sharing some insightful conversation with these amazing people. It is these conversations that have prompted me to have this podcast. Our guest speaker today is Shilpa, the founder of Paradise School in Goa. Now, Shilpa has some amazing background. She used to be a part of the BBC and Discovery Channel and worked with publication and media. So today, we're going to have an incredible conversation with her about her journey from traveling the world and setting up a base in the UK to moving to Goa and setting up a school here. So, welcome to Beam Me Up,
Thank you.
Shilpa. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you have been to Bean Me Up for quite some time now. You come
yeah,
here and we have lots of conversations. So I thought maybe we should document this
yeah.
and make the best of this uh, conversations that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about how you came about starting this in Goa and your past life. I understand you used to uh, be a part of BBC,
Yes,
and now you are in Goa, following what your heart wants you to do. So
yes.
how did that come about?
Well, thank you for inviting me today, Shawn, to one of my favorite restaurants in North Goa. Yes, we have had some lovely conversations over the years. I think everyone that comes to Goa has a story, basically. So my life before I had my daughter, I call that BC, before children. I was a TV presenter. I worked for the BBC. I worked for the Discovery Channel. Um, and it was a fabulous life where I got to roam all over the world. I've got travel very much in my
Wow.
genes. My dad really introduced me to the world of traveling and like independent traveling. But then once I had my daughter, it became traveling with dependence, and I call that AD, after domesticity. I had to kind of create a new life for myself because you can't keep working in TV with a child. There's a shelf life to TV. And I just decided to come to Goa. A friend said that she'd come to Goa with her child. I lived in Brighton in the UK. I'm from the UK. I'm a London girl. And she said, why don't you go to Goa and, you can get help there with your child and you can go on the beach. And, after pregnancy and childbirth and
So were you
all those
sorry? Were you
things.
a single mom during?
No,
Or
I was married at the
okay.
time. Since then, I'm not in marriage with my husband, but we're best friends. So the three of us basically are still a family
So
unit.
you all chose to come to Goa as a unit when during that time.
Yes, so
Okay,
we
yeah.
sort of came in phases. So he's a film producer and he comes and goes. So he has a house here in South Goa. I have a house in North Goa, and we basically raised our daughter in in
Wow.
Goa. And I think she's actually thanked me for this upbringing. It's really important that children have a childhood. And she was swimming in rivers. She was on the beach. She was climbing trees. She was like Mowgli, basically. So I feel instinctively somehow we liberated her from a cold, hard, dark winter of UK weather where you are basically forced indoors for many months. In those months, we'd come to Goa. We used to live seasonally, 6 months and six
Oh,
months.
okay.
But then what happened, Shawn, was that um, living in Goa became the priority. That it became that we made such a lovely life here that going back to the UK seemed less and less feasible. So then the balance sort of tipped to living in Goa,
So
and
the pros and cons. There was more pros of living in Goa than living anywhere else.
well, we just started to create a life here. I arrived with a baby on my hip, and then a couple of years later, I was setting up businesses, and I was kind of getting involved in making Goa a better place.
And then you started your first school in South Goa.
Yes, I started my
Wow.
first school in 2014. So my daughter had a school, but that school was kind of changing, and the headmistress was moving away. And so I just saw it as an opportunity to kind of make a difference in the educational landscape in South Goa, and decided to set up a school with the support of some of the community there. And that launched in 2014. That was the first Paradise School. That was a primary school. But
Okay.
the only thing is, Shawn, when it started as a primary school, that was fine for my daughter then, but then she turned 11 and she needed a secondary school.
So then you had to set up a whole secondary school for her. Is that how it happened?
I mean, I didn't want to set up a secondary school. It's not easy to set up schools, but um, when we moved to North Goa, she went to a local school here, and I thought that could be our future. But she didn't really get on with that educational system, and this is really where a lot of change happened for us. I could see that her soul was slipping out of her shoes, and that she was becoming deflated and less of herself. And I
Wow.
just felt that, I'd raised this child with all my love and heart and passion, and we'd made these incredible choices, and we were in a good place in our lives. But at some point, you hand your child over to the educational system, and that has to support a child's true growth. It has to really nurture them on a deep level. And if it doesn't, then I just felt I had to do something about it. So that's when I said, okay, I'll set up a secondary school. I tried to say to her, let's go to school in Bangalore, let's do this, let's do that. But she said, no, Mummy, I want to live in Goa. And I think I made a commitment to Goa, to make Goa, enrich Goa as much as I could with my talents and skills, and bring what I could to the table. So,
And I
yeah.
think you did a pretty good job at it because so Paradise School really stands out because it is very sought after. As far as I know, there are many parents from Paradise School who do frequent here, and they're very proud that their child goes to Paradise School. They say it with so much pride, oh, my kid is in Paradise School. And so, what are you doing differently at Paradise School? What is not being done? So, you saw that the other school, like you said, you could see it in your child that
Yeah.
that she was feeling deflated by
Yeah.
going to another school. So you saw a gap over there, and you filled that gap in, and you also monetized from it. So wow, I think that's an amazing skill set.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I
And
just.
being also at the same time being an amazing mom and doing that. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a beautiful compliment. I just think, it. The real meaning of education, when it comes from the Latin, comes from educare, which means to draw or to lead out. And I feel a lot of conventional education pushes kids back in. And really, the idea of paradise is to draw out the true personality of the child, which I don't believe as parents, honestly. Shawn, I know you're a parent now to two lovely children. I think we have to allow who the being is to emerge from themselves. And we just have to create a framework where children can show who they are rather than us dictating, you are this, you
Absolutely.
are that, you must do this, these are the rules. So we employ a technique at Paradise called self-organized learning, which was founded by Sugata Mitra, a very famous TED speaker. He won the TED Prize of $1 million to really pursue this type of pedagogy where children are basically left alone with supervised, but with the internet, and using groups of
Nice.
children
Yeah.
to collaborate, where we ask some big messy questions like how did Earth begin and how will it end, or what is time, or what will schools of the future look like there's no right or wrong answer to it, and we allow them to explore, and basically through the exploration with each other, through the collaboration and using the internet, they come at these amazing answers that astound
Wow.
us,
Yeah, yeah.
and they become genuine voyages of discovery for the child. And I think what that does is it infuses a love of learning and a love of questions. I think a lot of schools don't encourage questions, enough questions, whereas we're really a school of questions. And we allow children to engage their curiosity with the
And that is
world.
so absolutely necessary, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, otherwise you're just dumbed down or you're just shoved with the curriculum of what the government or the status quo wants you to know. And I think that is the kind of education that I had or we had when we were kids. We just had, but it is so important today to be more diverse and yeah,
And to not fear your mental processes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not feel like somebody else needs to be in control of how I think. You have to be in charge of how you think. And I think that's what's special about Paradise Kids and the environment that we've created, is that children are able to conceptualize their thoughts and able to stand, even from a very young age, very confidently, and talk about what they think or how they feel or what they see or their perspective. And that just really aids them as they grow up and into, the sort of exam years as well, that they're not afraid to explore. They're excited by it rather than being intimidated by it. So we really keep the door wide open for them.
Great. And I
Yeah.
think that leads me to the next question, which is in Paradise, because the demographic is so diverse. You have got, I think it's an amazing thing to be studying in Goa or in Paradise, because you have people from all walks of life who are like yours, like the fellow students there and the parents, not only from different parts of India, but different parts of the world.
Yes.
So that is such an amazing diversity for any kid to be in that kind of environment is just being there is learning so much more, learning about different cultures, learning about uh, different kinds of food or different how different people are. So yeah, so
And also from that, we create our own traditions. So, we're coming up to the Diwali season, but also the Halloween season. And so our kids invented this new type of party called Hallowali, which is a
wow, okay.
combination of Halloween and Diwali. And basically, you can either come dressed up as like an Indian princess or like a Rocky Horror Show, or a combination of the two, which I've done one year as well. And it's just a really good chance for, it's a celebration of
How
light,
nice.
light and dark,
Yeah, yeah.
the
And I
light
think
of
there's some
Diwali.
connection to all this anyway, and yeah, and
Yes,
to merge it all, yeah, why not? You know. So
yes.
it's so cool. Yeah.
But they made it. So
Okay.
what we do in the school is we allow children's inventions to lead the way. So if they're like why don't we, should we do Halloween or Diwali? Let's do Hallowali. It's now become a fixed like tradition. I think we've invented a new type of party basically. Other people will be doing it soon. You mark my words. Um, and it's fabulous self-expression, and I think that's what diversity is. It's everyone expressing themselves, but in a coherent and collaborative way, so that you're not squashing anyone or putting anyone else down. You're
Yeah.
like doing it together. It's really important.
Wow, and that is cool. And kids today, they have access to so much information. They're such intelligent beings, and with every generation, they say that they get smarter, and that is their theory. But kids today have also access to so much of information. And what advice would you give to parents to like keep up with the kids? You know, to because they have more information, or they have so much more access to information than even their parents have,
Yeah.
and sometimes you see the parents struggling to keep up with this race of information, because we are in this age of tech. So did you encounter anything like that with your kid, where or if you have parents come up to you, what suggestions would you give them to with AI? And we briefly spoke about it earlier, but
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, basically, we have built it into the structure of our learning. So we have digital literacy. Before that, we had digital citizenship. Um, SOL, this method that we use, self-organized learning environments, that's using the internet in an educational way. So we're already giving them the tools to take like masses of information. When you search for something, you get 30 million search answers back.
Exactly.
To use that and to be discerning, like how do you weave your way through that? How do you create your own ideas through the massive information that's there? The other thing is, I know there's a lot of fear around the internet.
Yeah.
We really encourage. We have IMAX in the school, big screens. So we don't allow kids on their phones to be researching. We we do, searching on the internet in a public space, which Sagata says is really important, so that everyone can see everybody's screen. So no, I think the problem is phones actually, because kids go off into their own private world in a phone, whereas we're using the internet in a very public way.
And with the short reels and things like that, they can
Yeah.
really suck you in, I think, with on the phones.
Yeah, exactly. It can take you down some rabbit holes,
Yeah.
which is what we're not encouraging. The rabbit holes, we're encouraging the internet as an educational tool, but also really understanding that kids are born digital. They have digital DNA, and we can't deny them that. We can't say no, you cannot use the internet. That the internet is bad. We cannot. That it's a form of cheating. It's really what's very important, Shawn, is that in the olden days of education, it used to be what do you know, and you had to like replicate knowledge that you'd memorized. But these days, it's like, what do you think about this information? How do we make sense of this information? So it's really asking for your point of view. more. It's not about what is the answer, because you can look up the answer. It's like, how do we navigate this much information, and how do we make sense of it in the future? So I think Paradise Kids are really ahead of the curve when it comes to the modern world. Basically, I think they're ready, and we've had
Wow.
graduates coming out of 12th grade, of
Oh,
A
nice.
levels, and they're really going on to do great things. And they're just very self-possessed individuals. So, yeah, it's not so much like what do you know; it's like what do you think. That's the new question that education should be asking.
And there are so many families that are planning to move to Goa now. So, for those who are planning to move, and especially families with kids, so what advice would you have for? And they struggle sometimes to find the right school, or they're not sure what is the right kind of education, because it's a big commitment to
Yeah,
move to Goa, and it is happening a lot.
yeah.
So, what advice would you give to the families that are moving to Goa with kids? Is it a suitable environment for them? Is it still like, will their child can still have the Mowgli experience, or is that changed, or is it changing, or what is happening in Goa?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, post COVID, there was a big rush of families. I mean, the demographic of the school changed from in 2016, we had more of an eclectic expat kind of community that I was a part of, that, the school served those communities well. But then during COVID and after COVID, a lot of people moved back to their respective countries,
Yeah,
and a new
a
influx
new
of
surge.
people,
Yeah,
yeah, of the like
huge.
huge surge of people from the cities came, middle class Indian families. But I'll tell you what's really interesting is I feel that there is a big change in India of people who are looking for a new way, a new path, new ways of living, new values. So I think Goa is such an opportunity to give that to your children, that you're coming to nature, you're getting away from the cities and the congestion, but also give your child a more enlightened way of studying and becoming educated. And that's what Paradise is about, is that we were just, fortunately, one step ahead of the curve. COVID happened, people came, and we're able to
And
present
you
to
were
people.
prepared for all of that, in the sense, like strategically, it was for that volume of students or kids to be there. And I think your faculty is amazing. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
very important,
yeah.
because we've given the freedom not just to our kids to learn and explore, but also to our educators and facilitators, so that there is an atmosphere and a culture of independence, autonomy, respect for people's creativity. So they bring a lot to the table. I mean, they have carved Paradise in so many ways, but that's because we gave them the freedom to be who they are, to teach, rather than dictating, this is how you teach. I don't breathe down anyone's neck, not all the time. And really, I think when you bring people together for an enlightened true purpose and give people the space to be who they are, amazing things
They can
happen.
thrive. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And you create an amazing community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Teamwork is like, yeah.
Dream work.
Teamwork
Teamwork is
is
the
dream
dream
work.
work. Yeah, but
Yay.
I've just seen that there's a lot of magic and power in democracy, in autonomy, and in trusting that together, without forceful leadership, you can actually create quite an amazing vision of tomorrow. My dream for Paradise is, yeah, we get some land, we get some great architects, we design
Nice.
something very futuristic, and like that reflects our values and our pedagogy, to really allow the building to express who we are as well. So that would be my dream.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yay.
yeah.
Good to know. Yeah.
Well, and that's how dreams start. That's how things
Of
grow.
course, you manifest it. Yes, you
From
have to
little
have a vision to manifest it. Yes.
from little things, big things must grow. So like we started on a grassroots level, and it's just got bigger and more
It's gone
evolved.
really big. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So now you have to plan your next phase, I think. But how many students do you have at the moment?
we have about 150, about 150, 160.
Wow, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah. But we're a boutique school, so we're never meant to be big numbers. We're meant to be small numbers, because our
And
class
small
sizes
is
are
better.
small.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because then you have got, like, I remember now, going back again, if you compare, my class, I had about 60, 65 to 70 kids in one class, but
That's
that was like
crazy.
cramped. It was Bombay, so
Yeah.
there were
Yeah.
70 kids in one class, and there were four or five classes like that. Let's say if you're in fifth grade, they were like fifth A, B, C, and D. So there
Yeah.
were like 60 kids in A, B, C, and D
Yeah.
in each of these classes. So they were like, it's crazy amount, like volumes basically. And you end up not learning anything. And then you have to go, after you finish your school, then you have to go to a private tutor, and you have to like pay and then it's waste of time and waste of energy, because you go to your school for like 5 6 hours a day, then you come back, you have your lunch, and then you're going to a private tutor who's teaching you the same thing but in a different way, but more 1:1 or one is like in a small group. So it's just
Yeah.
redundant. Like the whole thing was, now looking back, I'm like, oh my god, what a waste of time and energy that was.
I mean, you
And that is
should.
still happening in most schools in Bombay and most places.
I
They go to
just.
schools and then they go to private tuition.
I just don't think you should go to school then go to tuition.
Yeah, yeah.
School
That's a
is your.
norm, though. Exactly,
School is the tuition.
exactly. But
That's
that
like
is
another
the no.
business,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
tuition
yeah.
thing. No, we don't believe in
No,
that.
I definitely, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
We have very small class sizes,
So that's
15.
perfect.
Yeah, and so we do a lot of personalized learning. That's what we call it, is personalized learning, where each teacher gets to know the child and how they like to learn. And each child is on their own journey, which we can track each journey because we are small enough. So we've kept the school very boutique for that reason and specialized for that reason. I think we have to support individuals rather than institutions and institutions of mass instruction. I just think mass instruction doesn't work anymore. I think
Yeah.
it's very individualized. And even how people think and how you research on the internet and what you're interested in, it just is really allowing for a lot of personality, for a lot of self self defined journeys. And I think we've got to teach kids that you can go on your own journey. We teach you all the tools, will support you on that personalized journey, and then let's see who you become as a result of that. And ultimately, Shawn, the school has worked because the biggest guinea pig in the school was my daughter, the biggest guinea pig.
And look how she turned out to
And
be a
look how she
story
turned
writer.
out.
Amazing. And she's sitting in Australia writing this script.
Yeah, which
So,
are getting
well, that's a
accepted
big
by
win-win, isn't it?
by
Yeah.
big film companies, and
Yeah.
and not just that, she did well in her exams, but more than that, I just trust her, like who she is. I trust her independence. I trust her instincts. I'm not worried about. I never think. I know a lot of mums can worry. I don't worry about her at all. Not at all. Not one bit. I just know she's
It's quite
strong.
capable. Yeah, yeah,
She's strong.
yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about how she was raised, and so
Yeah.
yeah. So it is, you are a product of what you are, the environment that you are around with. So I think if a school should be a very safe space for, so the parents, when they drop their kids there, they should feel like, wow, it is, they are in a safe space where they they will be nourished, and they will be, they will be kind of developed to be a good human of the future. And
And
that is what the confidence that the parents should have when they're dropping their kids to school today. I mean, that's what I would expect from any school that I would want to have my kids go to.
yeah, and children run in through the gates at our school. I mean, the kids know that this is a school for them. They know I built that school for children. I didn't build it for parents. I didn't build it for teachers. I built it for them, with them at the center. And children know that. My problem is not children. My problem is convincing parents. I often say I'm not educating children, I'm educating parents, because I think it's parents that have to decide that this is the way forward.
Yes,
That
yes.
the old ways don't work. We can't put our kids in antiquated dinosaur, old-fashioned medieval type institutions anymore. Like, we've got to break those chains, and we've got to try something new. It doesn't necessarily mean that Paradise has all the answers, but we're definitely heading in the right direction. We're definitely heading away from the old shore towards a new shore. We're making that journey. We're traveling. So there'll be many amazing schools that come in the future, but Paradise at least is breaking that shell of the old and bringing in the new.
So you had this amazing life in South Goa. You said like you were swimming in the rivers and streams and all of this lovely. So tell us about that time of your life. Like, that sounds so interesting, adventurous and interesting to me.
I mean, South Goa is amazing. Is an amazing place, Canacona. And it's just a
Is it
brilliant.
still? Do you still go back to South
Yes,
Goa? Yeah, yeah.
I know so many people there. But the only thing is, it got to a point. I think it's a great place to raise your kids when they're small. But it got to a certain age with my daughter, and other people feel the same with their kids, that there's not enough infrastructure
Yeah.
to sustain teenage years. You know, you need cinemas, you need more diverse people, you need the Friday night market, you know, you need bigger exposure. So I think South and North have worked well for us as two different areas of Goa to raise my daughter. Yeah,
Nice. And
yeah.
you were just coming back from Australia now.
Yes.
So how was that? How was your trip to Australia? Tell us about it.
Australia's amazing. Yeah, my
Yeah.
daughter's there at the moment with her dad. So I went to visit them both.
Is she living there now or is
No,
she
no,
not?
she's writing film scripts with her dad. She's
Wow.
interested in filmmaking, and Tim is a filmmaker, so they're yeah hatching projects, which is great. And yeah, Australia was really an amazing experience. I mean, they love nature there, and nature is amazing. It's like being in
Yeah, the
Jurassic
outback.
Park.
It's crazy.
We
Yeah.
didn't go into the center, but just even just
Most of the population lives around
around the edge.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, even in the cities, you'd be
So
walking along.
whereabout were you in Brisbane or where were you?
I went to Brisbane, I went to Byron Bay, and I went to Sydney. Yeah, it was
Sydney
wonderful.
is very Cosmo, I think.
Yes.
With and
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
So, and about your earlier years with the BBC, and you
yeah,
said you traveled so much with your work.
yeah.
So what kind of work was that like that you had you traveled so much?
So I
With?
used to do travel programs, and I used to do programs about finding your ancestry.
Oh really?
I used to
Wow.
do
So you
environmental
have
programs.
Indian ancestry or
I'm
you do-
Indian.
oh, you,
I'm
you,
full thoroughbred Gujarati.
oh yeah, is it
Gujarati.
Gujarati?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But earlier you said you are very Londoner, so I'm very confused.
I'm a
now.
Londoner, yeah. So I'm born and raised in the UK.
Born and raised in the UK,
But my
but
parents
your
are both Indian. I never thought I'd get into education. I was a TV presenter, I was a broadcaster, I like communicating. I'm a wannabe writer. I was writing a book before I had my child. And I never expected in a million years you could have knocked me down with a feather that I'd set up a school. And even now to this day, when people say, Shilpa set up a school, but she never used to do her homework. Yeah, it's
But I
really the
think the
least
power-
likely person.
But the power of being a mother, the things that you do
Yeah.
when you are a mother are insane. You can like for your child, not even mother as a parent, you can do the impossible, I believe, to make sure that uh, to do it for your child. I mean, nothing is impossible when it comes to like because you said that you started the school because you saw a gap where your child could not have the right access to a school.
Yeah.
So you did it. So I think nothing is impossible when it comes to doing something for your child, like even setting up a school for that matter.
I mean,
And you did a very good job at that.
thank you. I mean, a mother's instinct is strong. It's very powerful. In fact, it rules the world. And a mother would lift a burning car off her child if she had to with her bare hands.
There are some experiments. There are some YouTube
Yeah.
videos I've seen that where
Yeah.
you just get this amazing like this external powers when it comes to like doing something for your children.
Yeah.
There's a study on it.
I mean, interestingly, I think I've lived that out. You know,
You've done it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just felt so strongly about something that I just didn't let anything get in the way. And often when I talk to business people or they say ask about the journey, you know, there was no planning, there was no strategy, there was just pure burning instinct to make a difference, to do something of value and of worth. And again, I think when we engage these resources within ourselves, Shawn, I think you can just achieve incredible things.
Absolutely,
you know.
and that I've seen that time and again with people I talk to in Goa because they come to Goa with such passion and determination. Same with me. When I moved to Goa, I had this vision of having a plant-based vegan restaurant, and a lot of people kind of were not supportive in this by saying like, "Oh, who's going to eat plant-based food in Goa? People come to Goa to party or to have the fish thali or whatever, the seafood." But yeah, so people were not very forthcoming. But if you have that fire in you, I think nothing is impossible. And I think a lot of people who have moved to Goa and done something can and I meet this kind of people all the time.
Yeah.
And that is why I would like to document your incredible stories. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a good idea. It's Beam Me Up is a place where there's a lot of positive change and like-minded people gather, and it's really part of the old Goa scene.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like been around for some time, so you
yeah,
just still feels home to the people who have been
yeah,
around for quite some time.
yeah. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
you know, Goa is a breeding ground of ideas. It used to be. Where people bring their talent and their creativity to the marketplace and do really interesting and unusual things. And I think that's why we love Goa. And this change now post COVID, where things are more focused on villas and developments and concrete, I think is I think we have to preserve and continue to stimulate this aspect of Goa because that's what makes Goa Goa. You know, and I really believe Paradise School is doing that. I think we're genuinely altering the and inspiring the educational landscape in India and showing that we can really help our children to get to the future rather than holding them back and keeping them in the dinosaur past and they go out inadequately skilled for the incredible changes that are happening. I mean, Goa is the place where you should be facilitating this change, and Paradise School is doing that.
Perfect. So you're in
Yeah.
the right place at the right time.
Yes, for once.
Thank you so much, Shilpa, for coming. And yeah, and you're always coming and hanging out here. So we'll have more amazing conversations soon. And yeah, lovely.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
When you're young, like Australia's nice. My
Yeah.
sister lives there. I told you.
Oh, yeah.
She's quite happy there. She's
Wait,
got
which
kids.
part?
Perth.